Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode on Monday Positivity. And today we are going to talk about triggers and reparenting. I've already created one episode on that. I created an episode on inner child healing. But now we're going to take that one step ahead, one step, further. And the reason I wanted to talk about it is that I think when we talk about inner child healing, and I will also help you understand the beauty of triggers, why triggers are actually not your enemies, triggers are your friends. Whenever you feel triggered in a moment, it's a beautiful, I would say, place. Um, it's a it's an opportunity to understand the wound where you are still, not healed, where the wound is still alive or the wound is still active. Right. And I think it is important to talk about this concept because whenever we talk about inner child healing, you know, most of us hear the term inner child healing and we immediately think of softness, being there for our inner child, of, comforting the inner child, comforting ourselves, and, holding space for our emotions and, giving ourselves the love we didn't receive. Uh, and yes, that is a part of it, but it's actually one side of the story. Okay, because healing your inner child. See, whenever we talk about inner child healing, we don't just talk about inner child healing. We also talk about reparenting, right? And when we talk about reparenting, it means now, as you're healing your inner child, you also have to be the parent, the mature adult parent for the inner child. Okay, so inner child healing isn't just about, soothing the inner child. Inner child healing, it's also about, again, soothing the inner child, but also about, stepping into the role of a responsible adult, responsible parent to that inner child, grounded adult in that relationship. Which relationship am I talking about? I'm talking about the relationship between the inner child and the parent. You are the parent because you are reparenting your inner child, right? It's about, becoming the kind of parent your inner child actually needed. And when I say the parent your inner child actually needed, I don't mean, someone who is a yes man, someone who is always soothing the inner child but is never able to act as an adult in the relationship. Because if you want to act as an adult in the relationship, your inner child doesn't know a lot of things, the concept of boundaries, or if this is a response or a reaction, who will teach the inner child all those things? You will, right? So it's not all soothing and all of that. And let me just, get my iPad because I've created a few notes that I want to talk about. So that's what we are going to talk about in this episode. And one more thing I wanted to mention, when we talk about inner child healing, we talk about, soothing the inner child and being there for the inner child, listening to inner child, trying to fulfill its emotional needs. But try to understand that inner child healing isn't just about fulfilling the emotional needs, it has a behavioral part as well. Inner child healing isn't just emotional, it's behavioral as well. And that behavior shows up in how you choose, how you respond, how you respond in, difficult situations, what you tolerate and what you no longer allow, right? So in this episode, all in all, we're going to go beyond the comforting version of inner child walk, and we'll step into what it really means to reparent yourself, like in practical ways. Okay, giving ourselves the love we didn't receive, but yes, also, you know, uh, so not just, listening to the inner child, validating its emotions, but also protecting, guiding, setting boundaries, making decisions that serve your long-term well-being. It also means that you don't just sit with your pain, you also lead yourself through it. Okay. And I think that's the part that often gets missed when we talk about inner child healing. All right. So let's talk about that. Now, see, when you start working with your inner child, and I've been doing that for more than, I think, 5, 6, 7 years now. Um, I think when you start working with your inner child, it's not always easy. You have to understand that it's not going to be always soft, calm. Sometimes the inner child is hurt. And when that happens, now your inner child is wounded, so it will react in many situations because it will get triggered. It wants to protect yourself, right? And how will it protect itself? The, the way it will try to, follow the way it knows, right? So your inner child may or may not know the right way to protect itself. And in those moments, yes, your role is to soothe your inner child, but not to just that. You also need to lead the way for your inner child. Okay. Now, let me give you an example, personal example. Recently, I had an interaction with someone and we were, discussing certain things. And during the discussion, I felt triggered, right? There was no immediate clarity, just a reaction, rising inside me. And earlier, that old version of me, old Parul, she would have shut down, blocked the person, or, just walked away completely. That was my pattern. And I'm not saying that it's always wrong. Sometimes, you have to do that as well. But I realized that was my inner shell trying to protect me. Now, this time it was different because I've done, the shadow work, the inner child healing work, the reparenting for so long. So when I got triggered, I was aware. And that's why I tell you, like, every time you get triggered, try to understand, like, where the wound is still alive, where it hurts. It's the opportunity to heal it. I got triggered, I was aware. And that awareness, I think, changes everything. And what I did was, I didn't react in the moment because I knew I'm triggered. So I didn't react. I was very calm. I let the conversation pass. And afterwards, I sat with myself. I sat with my inner child. I checked in with it, checked in with my inner child. And I asked, what is actually hurting you? And there it was. If you ask, inner child will respond. It was a wound. It was yeah, some kind of, hurt, something from the past that had been activated. So, yes, I sat with my inner child, I soothed it, I listened to it, I let it talk without any judgment, I validated its feelings, but I didn't stop there. I told my inner child, I know you are hurt, but you don't have to be stressed in this moment. You can trust me. I am the adult in this relationship now. You can trust me. You can trust me enough that I can handle this situation. You can just take a step back, relax, rest, let me lead. Let me handle this situation. You don't have to do anything. And in that moment, like, my inner child also felt so happy that someone is there to lead. And uh, and that's what reparenting is all about, right? As a child also, you want to depend on someone, you want to be guided by someone who knows the way. And even if they don't know it, because I think we are all human beings, we learn from our mistakes. But you know what, like, even if a child knows that the parent has flaws, uh, that the parent is maybe wounded, the child also notices that this parent is working on himself or herself, right? And that is also inspiring for the child. And I think my inner child has watched me work on myself, work on my hurts, work on my triggers, learn about, boundaries, learn about all the emotional regulation techniques. And my inner child trusts me, right? So that is also something, and it's not just responsive, it's not just feeling, it is responsibility, right? And I'm telling you again, like, triggers, uh, as uncomfortable as they are, they're actually showing you exactly where the healing is still needed. Without them, you won't know, right? Because usually our brain suppresses certain things, but again, your body remembers. And whenever you're in a situation where, that same feeling is activated in the body, you get triggered, that's the perfect moment to start questioning where the wound is still alive. And again, like I told you, healing doesn't happen in isolation. You can protect yourself when you're alone, but you heal when life mirrors your wounds back to you. And as an adult, adults, like a healthy adult, would not sit in isolation, right? We need connections, we need interactions, right? We need to, as a responsible adult, regulated adult, I need to walk, I need to interact with people. And I'm not saying that, uh, I'm not saying that you should become, you should just start throwing yourself in risky situations or in unsafe situations. You have to use discernment. Uh, you are responsible. You have to choose your experiences, but you live, right? You should not stop living. And, you know, and again, like every interaction, every discomfort, every trigger, it's information, it's a doorway to healing. And over time, as you consistently show up for yourself, you keep promises, you create safety, you build stability, your inner child starts to trust you, because these are the basic needs of a child. They want, they rely on their parents, right? So the child wants stability. There are like 10, 12 needs of it's a development theory. I attended a webinar last month. Maybe I can create another episode on that as well. So if you did not get all the needs met as a child, you will have that wounding when you grow as an adult. And for every adult, I would say, like, maybe I mean, again, like, I can't speak for everybody, but maybe few needs could be, missing. And if you learn about those, you can help your inner child, trust you better. And my inner child has seen me keep promises. My inner child has seen me take good care of myself, right? If you know something is not good for your health, someone is not good for your mental health, a place is not making you feel safe or your best, you don't go there. And you're in that, creates safety for your inner child also, because your inner child can trust you that this person will not throw me in uh, you know unsafe situations. So yeah. And again, like, you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be someone who is willing to try, someone who is willing to understand, someone who's willing to improve their lives. And when you do that, you are improving your inner child's life too. And the concept of inner child reparenting and all of that, if you have heard of IFS, internal family system, it's just there are different parts of you. There is an angry part that wants safety, part that wants to be healthy, part that wants financial security, different parts. And when you do the work, they see that, they acknowledge it, right? And you can feel it. So, yeah, if you are someone who's only been focusing on soothing your inner child, this is your reminder, I guess. Don't stop there. Be the adult too, be the parent too. That's why it's not just inner child healing, it's also inner child healing and reparenting. And that's where the real shift happens. And if you want to go deeper into the process, I've also created a PDF. You'll find the link. It's a free PDF. You can click on it. It's in the description. The link is in the description box. And this PDF will actually walk you through exactly how to take, this inner child work further. And yeah, it's not just about, understanding your inner child. It's about becoming someone. your inner child feels safe to trust, you know? And yeah, and I think again, like triggers are amazing. They give you, that reminder. They remind you, "Oh, this is where the work is needed, you just need to work." And I think that's the beauty of it. Every time you're triggered, it's perfect opportunity to ask yourself, where do I need to heal? And when you start asking that question, where do I need to heal? That's when the next step is to reparent your inner child. And then sometimes it requires, shadow work also. Maybe I can create another episode on shadow work as well. But yes, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Because I think these steps are very important. Like you don't just stop at inner child healing, you take it one step further with reparenting yourself, right? I hope you found this episode uh, knowledgeable. I hope you gained something out of it. And if you did, don't forget to like it, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And I'll see you next time.